stick around, come through and dig the sound of the fly brown 6060 cycle. Who those hits?
Welcome to another exciting episode of Wine Down with Kev. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to watch us on live stream, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Thank you. You might be listening to this on your favorite podcast platform at a later date. Thank you. And special thanks to all of you that have already subscribed to the podcast. Hit the notifications button. And if you haven't, please click the button now so you can subscribe and receive notifications when this awesome content becomes available. Also, big thank you to our sponsors, Carol Media for all things social media, Canopy Connect for all digital marketing as it relates to collecting declaration pages, and for all things financial, Win Trust Bank. So super excited for the podcast that we're bringing your way today. Today we get to travel to my favorite state in the union, Hawaii. We're bringing to you an elite agent, an award-winning agent, an agent that believes in giving back to the community on the island where his agency is located. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado or delay, I introduce to you my good friend from Hawaii, Koa Yukimura. Hey, Koa, what's going on?
All right. Thanks, Kev. Hey, I'm doing great. I love the energy you're bringing to this, lifting me up here.
No. It's all well deserved. Anybody listening to this knowing that you're in Hawaii, they are just as excited as I am. There's only two type of people in the connected states: those that have been to Hawaii already and those that wish they can go. That's right. The only two. So Koa, I usually like to start this off with a little bit of fun. First off, tell me what time of day it is in Hawaii right now, and tell me what the weather's like today.
It just turned 11 o'clock a.m. and weather is in the 70s. The wind's picked up a little, but yeah, it's kind of the time of year where it's hot one day, little chilly wind the next day, but still you're in the 70s to low 80s.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, you're describing the 70s as a little chilly. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Koa, we are here in New York. We might be at 45 degrees today. There's a bunch of people watching and listening that would pay good money for 70 degrees right now. What's the definition of a nice day in Hawaii? When do you consider it a nice day where you have all the options of Hawaii open to you?
Well, my favorite day is, kind of this time of year, or, maybe even January, December, when there's when it's fully sunny, no clouds, it's still 70 degrees, maybe light wind. That's my favorite. In the summertime, you could get the same day, but it'll be like, mid 80s or close to 90. And then that's pretty hot.
Oh my God.
So I kind of like the nice winter days are kind of my favorite.
I love it. So not only are you on the island of Lahu, did I say?
Or that's the city.
Is that correctly?
And then Lihue is the city, and then Kauaʻi is the island.
I love it. Lihue and Kauaʻi is the island. You don't just live there; you actually partake and enjoy the water. What are some of the things that you're into doing on the water?
Pretty much anything. Surfing wise, I like surfing, stand-up paddling, boogie boarding. We're just hanging out at the beach with the kids.
I love it. Surfing, stand-up paddling, and boogie boarding. I had a chance to try to stand up on a paddleboard this summer in Alabama. It did not go that well for me. How early do you learn to do those things? Your kids are how old, and what are they into? What water sports can they participate in already?
They're 7 and 9, and I would like them to be more into surfing. So, but just I don't want to push them. And when the conditions are right, they'll maybe try a little bit on the boogie board or paddle around. And then when it's a flat day and if we have the paddle board at the beach, they'll like to just sit on the board and I'll paddle them around or just jump off the board into the water.
I love it. I love it. Are they swimming?
Yeah, they're both pretty good swimmers. And, just trying to get them used to the waves, being able to handle going under the waves and get knocked around a little bit.
Now, Koa, you said something just now that I don't understand, and I don't think my audience understands either. What is a flat day?
Well, like just down the street from my house, there's a bay, and if there's no swell and not too much wind, it's pretty calm. Or like Honolulu Bay in the summertime, it'll usually be pretty nice and flat.
I love it. I love it. I think the biblical reference is still water, where it's not where the water just isn't moving at all. I love it. Maybe Koa, maybe I would have the confidence to go into the flat water, but certainly I don't have the what it takes to go into still water. But we're talking about the kids. We'll stay there with some fun for a moment. You're actually coaching your kids in soccer right now. How's that going?
Yeah, it's pretty good. We just had our first weekend of soccer this last weekend. Kids did great. They're excited. They're all into it and, looking for another good weekend coming up on Saturday.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. We got the water sports out. We got the soccer out of the way. Tell me what you love about being an Allstate agent in Hawaii. What is that like?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think our rates are pretty competitive. You just got to keep sifting through everyone to find the ones that, work well. And, I have a real estate background, so going into insurance was, I like it because when you're in insurance, they kind of picture you as like an institutional person, like a bank, like Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So I kind of like that. And then it's a lot easier to, plug in people into the system and have a lot more support, a lot more leverage. So you can, buy back some of your time and do some of the things out there that you like doing. And, as opposed to a real estate agent where you're expected to be, on call 24/7. And so that's what I like about being in insurance. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And the place is beautiful as well. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, and then plus, you just get to interact with way more people, with your client base with real estate is, you try to expand as much as you can, but, you're not in contact day in, day out with as much customers and, able to help, more people, I feel like in this capacity.
Now, I definitely would agree. Do you think it's fair to say that real estate, you build a relationship, but there's one big transaction and maybe we don't stay in touch as much with insurance? There's constant interaction and building a deeper and maybe a longer term relationship?
Yes, definitely more opportunities or more reasons to contact people. With real estate, you kind of have to manufacture those. And that's what the, great real estate agents do. They keep them engaged somehow, some way. But this, with, having a book and, 4,000 households or whatever it is, every, type of change that goes on in their life, you have a chance to interact with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's that is well, that's definitely, we get you into the recruited to join the business?
Yes. So it was probably about after my second full year in real estate. I got a random call from a Allstate recruiter just saying there's a book of business for sale. He didn't disclose which one, but there was only one or two. I was friends with the person who owned it before this sale. So I just called him up, asked him what he thought, how it went. And, he said it's a good opportunity. So I looked into it more, kind of asked around. My real estate office is right above a State Farm office. I went downstairs, asked them how they like being in insurance, what it was like. And yeah, everything sounded pretty positive. So, I went for it.
Outstanding. So, hey, DJ, what's up? I'm in the middle of recording the podcast.
I know, man.
Yeah. So, this guy, we want to talk about something different. He's trying to get his website and his Google My Business page going.
Yeah, I know.
Everybody knows you helped me to get to the 2 Comma Club, and be seen by a couple of million people. But this person wants to do something different. They're trying to run ads to their book of business, their model line campaigns and stuff like that.
I know, Kev.
Oh, man. Well, DJ, talk to the people, man, so I can get back to the podcast. How can you help?
Yeah, man. So listen, I can help you by running monoline ads to your auto, your home, as well as optimizing your website, your Google business profile, and your social media outlets. We can do the exact same thing we've done for Kevin over the years and get you in front of millions of sets of eyeballs to help you grow your business. Contact Carroll Media today. Kev, let them know.
DJ, I appreciate you jumping in the podcast. Hit up Carroll Media. DJ, I gotta go. I gotta get back to the podcast.
I know.
There's a bunch of people that's going to listen to this podcast, and they're going to wonder to themselves, how can I get a license in Hawaii and practice insurance there? So how hard is the license process in Hawaii? What do you have to do in order to get a license?
It's pretty easy, I think. You just have to pass the Hawaii test and then apply. And then once you apply, you'll do the fingerprints and background check. And, it's probably less than $500, all
Nice.
in.
Nice.
So, and then it all depends on which company you use for your education part. But the licensing and fingerprinting and all that, it's probably about $350 to $400.
I love it. So, Koa, just by you sharing that information, there's a bunch of people going online right now in this digital world. They're wondering whether they can get their license in Hawaii and sell insurance on a beach instead of in a crowded city or a crowded island like I'm in New York. They're all wondering. I never thought that spatially that I might be able to do this someplace else. So let's talk about the city where you're at is pretty safe. Sometimes when people think of Hawaii, they think of one continuous island, but that's not it. Hawaii is actually a collection of several islands, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I didn't know if you wanted me to talk about the different islands or anything like that.
Please, yes.
Oh, yeah. So we have 8 islands, 6 which are inhabitable by people, well, 7, but one of those islands is a private island only reserved for Native Hawaiians and some military activities. And so not everyone can go to that island. So there's 6 that, most people can travel to. And there's, out of those 6, 3 of them are, or 4 of them, 3 of them are in one county. Maui County has Molokai and Lanai, and then each island is its own county.
Outstanding. Let's talk about the unique insurance risk, and not in your island, but I think it was the Big Island where I think everyone followed on the news where maybe 2 years prior to the California wildfires, we saw a lot of fires. Which island was that?
That was Maui. and Lahaina was the city. So that was on the western side. And Maui, the topography, there's like two big mountains and kind of like a valley in the middle. It's nicknamed the Valley Isle, probably because of that. And so when there was heavy winds, it kind of funnels right between those two mountains. And so, if you ever fly into Maui, it's like the shakiest landing because you're going into the wind through that valley. But I think the winds were 30 to 50 with like maybe some higher gusts. And so one little fire with all that wind kind of just made it take off.
Wow. That is different. With that sort of natural disaster, I know where you're located, that you're not in Maui or Lanai where that is at. But when you're selling across the island, how important is it for you being a local agent, just making sure people have the right wind coverage, the right water coverage to protect them from everything that impacts them on the island of Hawaii, on their island?
Yeah, I think it's pretty important, to be well versed in your area and then also other areas if people are moving or whatnot. So we can sell to the whole state, and but it's good to have knowledge of the certain areas, and then it also helps with your quoting because you're gonna know right away if it's eligible or not. I know this town is too close to the water. This town is in a lava zone 1 or 2. Only Hawaii Island, the Big Island, has lava zones. So those are some of the things you can knock out pretty quick if you're, locally, been here for a while and know the area.
Now, you mentioned lava zones. I'm approaching 4 decades in this business. I'm fairly knowledgeable about insurance, but if I were representing an 800 number or a .com company, I would have no knowledge of lava zones. So for people that are not familiar, talk about lava zones a little bit.
On the island of Hawaii, the Big Island, they have an active volcano, and the state came up with lava zone 1, 2, I think 3 and 4, and so anything lava zone 1 and 2, I don't think we can touch, and then you just kind of gotta look at the map and see where they're in, kind of like the flood zone.
I love it. So instead of the risk of flood, surface water rising up and entering from outside the house, the risk is that lava is going to come out of the mountains, and there's no path forward for that. If that actually were to come in and cause disaster, I'm sure we have no way of pricing for that risk.
Yeah, and there's no stopping it. Right? Once the lava's flowing, it's it just takes whatever's in its path, and and so with knowing that too, that there's a volcano there, you might want to offer also earthquake insurance.
Wow, talk about that. That's something that here in New York I have zero experience in. How often is earthquake a risk? When I think earthquake, I think California. It shows the scope of something else that's there. What sort of earthquakes do you have?
It's usually tied to the volcano, so volcanic activity, and so Big Island is usually the source of it. But actually, last time we had some Allstate leaders visiting Hawaii. We're in Honolulu. And we're in the conference room, and everyone's like stops, like, do you guys feel that? And there was like a 3-point something earthquake, and so it's not a huge risk, but it's just something to be mindful of. And usually there's not too much earthquake damage. I just remember living on Oahu, maybe like 15 years ago or something. There was a pretty big earthquake that knocked out power on Oahu for like almost a whole day. And then the Big Island had, a couple buildings damaged, but nothing like California or anything like that. But it's just something to also, ask that question if they will, ever need something like that. And you can provide like an example, like, last time there was any earthquake damage was like 15 years ago, but hey, you never know.
It's once it's that far, it's not real to people. So Hey, Ray, it's Kevin. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nothing, man. You guys have been helping me out for a while with all the digital things you can do at Use Canopy, but some of my guys, they're still having a hard time adjusting to the digital age. Talk to the people, Ray, please.
Yes, sir. Well, Canopy Connect is the insurance data intake platform. Send a link out to your prospect. They, click on it, find their insurance carrier. We got like 350 insurance carriers on there. Click that, sign in, and they can be done there. You can ask them a few more questions you want, but we're going to pull all that insurance information, give it to you right in a nice dashboard.
That sounds pretty quick. What are we talking? 2 or 3 minutes?
Less. You can do that in 30 seconds, man.
Wow. Nick, you're a big time marketing guy. What do you think?
I think Canopy Connect is one of those tools that everybody should have in their back pocket. Makes it easy to use. You can send it out in emails and text messages. You can use it in social media campaigns, X-Date campaigns. All of those methods will work with Canopy Connect.
Guys, I got to get back to the podcast, but you heard it right here. Use Canopy Connect. Go digital. Leave old school in the past. Nick and Ray, I'll catch you guys later. Easy.
Let's go. See ya.
Koa, I've been to Hawaii, I think 3 times, the last time being in 2017 or 2018. There was no natural disaster, but I don't know if I've shared it with you. I'm comfortable flying, but I do have a real fear of heights. And we had some downtime on an Allstate trip to drive around and see a little bit of the island. And we drove up to the top of a mountain. We were visiting a winery at the peak of a mountain. And I'm driving, and I didn't realize that I was going to be driving and that there'd just be this area where I could just see down. And the more I drove, the more my stomach dropped. And literally, my wife had to take over. Yes, I'm not ashamed to say it. She had to take over the car. But that's the risk that I think of with Hawaii. I love the island, beautiful, the water, the scenery. But you have to be a good and safe driver to drive on those mountains and to see that beautiful scenery and those cliffs.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. And most of the outer islands is pretty rural. And so driving at night, there's no street lights. My wife is from Honolulu, Oahu, which is, it's mostly a city. And when she came here, she was like, how do you drive at night? There's no lights. It's pitch black out there, I was like, well, I'm used to that. It's actually easier for me than when there's so many lights.
I'm sweating bullets. I'm picturing you driving at night with no street lights, your lights, and then so someone's coming the opposite way. Those lights are beaming in your eyes, but natives of the island, they know it, they can do it. Yeah.
You just look to the reflectors on the right side. You're not looking at the center line. You're looking at the right side line.
Oh, my God.
So little tip there. At least we have reflectors on the road. If you get to a part where there's no reflectors, then these are best.
Literally, I'm experiencing it while you're saying it to me, and I'm sure that's sound advice, but I don't think I'll drive there again. I'll just enjoy it again. I look forward to getting back one day, but not driving. So, Cole, one thing I like about talking to you, and you and I talk fairly often, you still have a ton of traffic in your office. You truly are a face and a place in the community. On a regular day, how many people would you say come into your office from a customer standpoint?
Oh, we could get, I would say average, at least 20.
Nice.
So, a couple an hour. And then some days, definitely busier than others, like Mondays and Fridays.
Yes.
Our community is kind of old school. Best example I can think of is like my auntie. She goes to each municipality to pay everything. She'll go to the water department to drop off a check. She'll go to the electric, department. She'll go to the, DMV to pay a registration. Like just set it up on auto pay. She's like, no, I like, going around. So
she's not interested in any of the digital things that are happening in the world.
Yep.
at the same time, while you have the strong retail and presence, I took a look at your Google reviews, your website reviews. You have a ton. You have over 700 highly favorable reviews. So while there's your auntie that may like the old school, say hello, pay the bill in person, make sure that people know her. There's also obviously a lot of people that are doing things digitally as well.
Right.
That healthy balance.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to be able to cater to all types. We're in that age where, we still got the old school and we got the new school, and you got to be, able to talk to both.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Cole, let's talk about your involvement in the community. I mentioned earlier that you're coaching your sons in soccer, and that's priceless giving back to the community. What are some of the other community activities that you're involved in now?
The main other one is probably the Hawaii Chamber of Commerce, or the Kauaʻi Chamber of Commerce, our local chapter. I'm on the board of directors for that, and I serve on the events committee, help putting on the events that the chamber does. That's a great organization to network with people, and and we can put out a voice collectively as business owners to our elected officials on what's important to us. So that's one thing I do, and then another kind of subset off of that is like Lihue Business Association. As a sub shoot off of that, it's more of a Rice Street Business Association. So just on our street, we're trying to revitalize Rice Street, which was the main street, when the county got formed and everything, got the county building, DMV, everything's there. But as the town kind of sprawled, it's kind of got neglected. So we're trying to revitalize business on our street and bring more people in here.
That's very, very important. Taking a leadership role and shaping the future of the community by being involved in those places is vitally important. I think a few weeks ago, you and I were talking, and you were telling me that Hawaii became a state, I think you said 1952. So everything is relatively new, but at the same time. Is that correct? Yeah, 52?
I'm not too sure, actually. It was sometime in the 50s.
No problem at all. So as it relates to other areas, it doesn't seem long ago, but still very important to be in part of businesses, revitalizing those things and keeping them top shape. Being young, being a business owner, you always want things to be the best for the people that are there. And then the influx of people from other places that are coming. What was it like? What was Hawaii like post COVID with I'm sure people leaving the mainland wanting to come someplace where they saw many states. Did you see a lot of growth? A lot of people probably moving from California, Arizona, places of that nature?
As population wise, we're kind of stagnant on growth there. We've kind of been, as a state, we've been declining in population.
Wow.
So it's more, I don't know if it's, less births, plus, a lot of people kind of moving out because it is hard to, survive here. Cost of living is pretty expensive, and you can get a lot more, bang for your buck, in the States. So.
Go talk about that a little bit. I think everyone looks at the sunshine and the water and they see the glory part of Hawaii. Talk about the higher cost of living in Hawaii. Is that driven because more goods are imported to Hawaii?
Yeah, it's just everything. The cost of goods, and the wages, don't kind of reflect that. I feel like, California and New York, those are also high cost of living states.
Yes.
But I think the availability to earn a higher income in those states are more readily than they are here. So you kind of, it's difficult. So a lot of multi-generational families living together, and a lot of people starting out, they don't feel like they can really own a home unless it's like passed down or get some help from somewhere.
Well, that is very relatable. That's definitely relatable to what's happening on the mainland. The only difference might be in New York, where I am, a highly populated state. Because there are more people in congested areas, there's more needs for all services. So if you paint, more people need paint. If you lay floors, more people need floors. If you hang drywall, there's more of everything. And I think that's the only thing that's unique that keeps people in a highly populated state like New York. How has your background in real estate benefited you in the insurance business? You know a lot about the replacement cost and what people are insuring and what they're trying to protect and make sure, God forbid, on their worst day, that you can properly put their lives back together.
Yeah, so probably the biggest benefit for the real estate background is just knowing kind of what the buyers and sellers are going through. Usually the buyers, because they're the ones getting the insurance. So what the buyers are going through, what the lenders are going through, their deadlines, and how does the insurance part fit in with them. So I tell my staff to we gotta do our best to work with these lenders, even though they can be sometimes unrealistic or whatever. And these buyers, it's kind of a stressful time for them. So we just gotta do our best to be the calm, the voice of reason, during some of these times. And then would you like to just explain to the buyers what they're getting into? Because a lot of times the lenders are just, they just need the policy and they don't, and sometimes they'll just shop quotes and they'll just pick something, but we want to make sure the buyers are knowing like what's covered, what's not, and, things like that.
Absolutely a heavy education component. I can imagine that lenders write the same thing on the applications that they write here, that the insurance will be $100 per month. I'm sure they're writing the exact same number, and I'm sure that's not the real number. Koa, we talked a lot about family. We talked about the business. Any pet projects, anything that you're working on right now, anything that you want to share that I didn't ask you about?
Well, nothing really insurance related.
Doesn't have to be insurance, anything.
So, I still do practice real estate, and I bought a home that I'm in the middle of doing a total renovation. It was abandoned for like 30 years, and just going through that, the pain points of trying to get permits and, figuring out all the things to do. So I like to do, trial by fire. So I'm just going in there, thinking of it as a learning experience and, how to deal with these different agencies and contractors and whatnot.
I can, just when you say 30 years in an abandoned house, I can imagine the amount of neglect and the amount of rehab you have to do. What comes to my mind is someone who's not handy, but I think of all the systems, plumbing, electricity, the walls, the floors, pretty much everything. Are you renovating it or knocking it down and building it back up?
We're going to renovate it. The bones are still good. Just got to replace everything else.
Okay. That sounds like an amazing project and a worthwhile venture. So a couple of the last questions that I ask all my guests. You're working really hard. You're giving back to the community. You're involved in the business associations. You're coaching your kids in sports. How do you wind down at the end of the day? Now, before you attack me in the comments, he's in Hawaii, all he has to do is go outside. I'm sure that you have as much pressure and stress as the rest of us. So how do you wind down at the end of the day? Or I think your wind down starts in the morning, but how do you wind down at the end of the day?
That's a good question, because I don't really feel like there is a wind down. Because it's with young kids, it's and sports, it's just work and it's practice and then dinner and then get them ready for bed, right? And then so it's a grind, like everywhere else. And, we do partake in some wine. That
Nice.
helps. But I'm trying to get off that. I don't think it's healthy to do it every day. So I've been getting into more just having those non-alcoholic, seltzers, just, flavored sparkling water or whatever's, just to have something crisp and cool when you get home. But yeah, just spending time with the kids, and depending on the day, as we get into summer and the sun's sets a little bit later, like it'll set at like 7:30 in the midsummer. So those days we try to find times to get out and have like a picnic dinner at the beach or something like that. But just spending time with the family and trying to put everything aside and focus on them and not think about work.
I love it. I think you share with me as well that you and your family like to hike as well.
Yep, if we can.
Good stuff. Well, that visual of a picnic dinner on the beach and just focusing on the kids, I think that's highly relatable. I think everybody, wherever they are, can connect to that. They can only imagine it. Definitely different doing that in Hawaii than it is doing it in the backyard here in New York. Koa, final question. I'd like to ask all my guests. There's some people listening to this podcast. Maybe they're in Hawaii. Maybe they want to join your agency, work there. Maybe they want to be in the insurance business or some other business. I always ask my guests to give people an encouraging word. Maybe they're having a hard time. I would love for you to share, where you go and some encouraging words that can help them if they're having a hard time.
Yeah, so you guys probably know Kevin. He's my coach. We've been doing this probably getting close to a year, I think. I used to have a coach in real estate. That really helps to, get new ideas, find a easier, better way to do things. But yeah, this business is definitely tough. When I graduated from my class with Allstate, there's a bunch of people. They're very smart, knew a lot, and not all of them made it. So the people that did make it, they focused on their lead source, processes, and you got to really go after it in the beginning. And then once you're kind of settled, you got to just keep finding the right people. If I didn't have, my one rock star, or, I wouldn't be where I am today. I probably wouldn't have made it just like everybody else. But yeah, finding the good people, and then how do we keep growing with that? Getting more good people. That's probably the most important thing. And then getting your processes set, and so everyone's on the same page.
People plus processes is definitely a winning formula, and being in Hawaii helps. It doesn't make it easy, but it helps. That kind of gives you a good state of mind. So, Koa, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You painted some beautiful pictures of Hawaii. You educated us a lot. You have people jumping on Indeed right now, updating their resume, trying to get there to see if they can be there day in and day out. You probably have some agents rethinking their retirement plan and succession plans on the island, surfing, hiking, having dinner on the beach. But thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Wine Down with Kev. If you like what you heard here, please click the subscribe button, the notifications button, so you can get amazing content like this as soon as it comes out. Big thank you again to all that have subscribed already. Big thank you to my sponsors, Carol Media for all things social media, Canopy Connect for all things digital, getting better information and servicing your customers, and to my financial partner, Wintrust Bank. And thank you, and all of you for tuning in to another episode of Wine Down with Kev. Take care.